show, everybody. Now, of course, it is a known fact that Guam has always had a very, very strong relationship with the United States military. And one of the reasons is because our Guard and Reserve have so many people that volunteer their time in defense of our nation. And the thing that makes us work is that private sector employers and public sector greatly support the Guard and Reserve mission. Josh Tenorio is here, our good friend. And Josh, I had no idea that you were involved with the ESGR organization, so congratulations and thank
Thanks.
you.
I've been doing it for 4 years. I'm one of 20 volunteers in both Guam and the Northern Mariana Islands.
I need to get caught up, obviously.
Right. Maybe you need to join us.
Well, you guys have a very noble mission. And
Absolutely. Well, there are 4 things that we focus on. We advocate some relevant DoD initiatives. In this case, for the last few years, it's been on addressing employment and underemployment issues for service members and their families. We recognize top employers, recognize supportive employers. We educate employers and service members about the law, what their protections are under a federal act called USERRA. And the 4th thing is, we have a few ombudsmen, some business leaders actually who are ombudsmen that come in to try and help address some issues that are coming up with employees before it gets to a level that a complaint will have to be filed with the U.S. Department of Labor and stuff. So it's a pretty interesting situation, really trying to be supportive, but trying to encourage and foster support amongst employers about why having Guard and Reserve employees is such a good thing for their organization.
Well, I mean, it is a very mutually beneficial relationship because, from a private sector standpoint, we get to let our employers go off and defend freedom that allows us to do what we do. And then we also get our employees go off and, they serve their duty, but they also get world-class training, which more often than not comes back and really amplifies our operations here. I mean, computer training, communications, obviously organizational skills, discipline, leadership, the list goes on.
No, absolutely. I mean, at the court, I have about 40 Guardsmen and Reservists that are employed. And that's the reason why I'm involved is I see the professionalism and the training that sometimes smaller organizations are not don't have the resources to provide. So you really get a lot more out of them. But I do want to hit on the fact that the reason why we don't have a draft is because we have a volunteer military. And so, this is a necessary component of maintaining the number of forces that the country needs in support of our freedom. And over the last 10 years since the War on Terror, I don't think there's ever been a time where more Guardsmen and Reservists have been called up to duty, going into combat in the war theaters and coming back and returning to their lives and their jobs. And some of them, unfortunately, returning back to nothing. And so nothing means that we need to try and connect them with the opportunities to expand their education and training and also to get employed.
Well, it is ESGR week. And I'm sure, like you said, the advocacy that you provide and the networking opportunities and the communications with employers and service members and everything like that, that's something I'm sure that you and your colleagues are greatly doing a lot of.
Sure. So this week, we're fortunate that the governor and the legislature both provided proclamations and resolutions supporting the work we're doing. And then on Tuesday, the governor of the Northern Mariana Islands and their legislature will be doing the same. Our ESGR committee covers both jurisdictions. We're the only state committee that covers both Guam and the Northern Mariana Islands, 2 separate jurisdictions. But the kind of work that you'll see us doing is going out there, briefing service members, briefing their families, and also briefing employers, trying to encourage them to consider employing Guardsmen or Reservists or preparing them for certain things that come along with it. And I think in the last 5 to 7 years, especially when we had the large deployment, several of our members were out there briefing employers, informing them about the USERRA law, what the entitlements that service members have to get back, to get their jobs back when they return at the place of employment, even at the location of their employment. So there's a lot of things that go along based on a number of factors, including the fact that the USERRA law is there to make sure that these employees are caught up when they return. They call it an escalator principle. If an employee was entitled to additional compensation or training as a core part of the mission and they were not available because of the deployment, they're still entitled to do those kinds of things. So we spend a lot of time really informing them about all those things and trying to facilitate and prevent any conflicts from occurring.
Now, you yourself said that you are a volunteer. So
right.
If people out there would like to do as you do and maybe, join up because they believe in the nobility of the work, how can they do so?
Sure. Well, for those volunteers or for service members or employers that have some questions, I'd ask them to call our office at 735-0456. There's a machine on all times. If nobody's there, they'll always get back to them. The office is located in the National Guard compound in Barrigada, and we have some staff that also help with this work. But I think we're pivoting into a place where there's going to be more work for volunteers, and so I would encourage them, if they want to do that, to make a phone call, prepare a resume. There's a screening committee that will get into place to try and see where we best can get your assistance. And it depends on the amount of time that you have. And just some of the volunteers, Laura Dakanai, who's just left the presidency of First Hawaiian Bank here, is a member. Don Clark, who's with ASC, Dave Saban's our chair. So you see, it's a cross-section of people from the community, and I think we're always looking for that diversity, and also for some parents, employers, or spouses of service members or retired service members themselves. We really like to add to the diversity of our group.
All right, thanks so much.
Thanks a lot, Jason.
All right, stay tuned.